The volcano Mount St. Helena eruption on the 18th of May 1980. Washington DC is on the east side. The state Washington is a part of Alaska, the most northwestern state of the United States of America. And there's Mount St. Helena. The region was a place where many tourists were climbing, fishing, walking, and so on. 100 people died during the eruption, which is still less because many people were warned, because seismologists, geologists, and scientists had looked when the volcano might be erupting. And when it erupted on the 18th of May 1980, 100 people still died, including a geologist 8 kilometers away at an observation point. And it erupted so strongly that the blast was smashing down trees in an area of 400 square kilometers, so 20 times 20 kilometers, and even making trees fly into the air 500 meters high. And then the topmost part of the mountain was blasted away, and there was a big caldera created, so a crater. And lahars were going down the mountains out of ash, gas, melted snow and ice, and plunging into the rivers. And I think that caused then the flooding down the rivers through tsunami waves, then resulting through it coming into the rivers. And then during 3 days they started then to cover clouds of this ash, the United States of America, and then within 17 days all of the earth was full of the sky through the ash of volcano eruption. And the lahars had 160 kilometers when they were going down the hills. So this 160 kilometers per hour. And that is according to Geography by James Ferretti and Ryan Gresley on the page 9. The positions and views expressed are the ones of the source and don't necessarily align with my own or with the ones of the entity spoken of.
Hi and welcome. I am trying to learn volcanology. Today, Mount St. Helens. And after we've done that, we're going to do stretching, and if you participate in the stretching, then it's very honest. And we're talking here about a disaster in which people died. Mount St. Helens, the United States of America. Now we're having a map of North America. There's Canada, Mexico, Los Angeles, United States of America, and there's Mount St. Helens. And there's Spokane. I don't think they ever say what state it is. I really want to say it, but I don't know it. Mount St. Helens was a popular tourist area for fishing, climbing, and walking. Okay, there were some people, tourists, and they were fishing, climbing, and walking. It lies at the margins of the North American plate and the Pacific plate. This is a destructive zone of a type from the margin. The first North American plate and Pacific plate. Where do we have here? North American and Pacific plate. And when destructive, it means one is going underneath the other one. Two plates are they called plates? Yes, plates going together, and one is going underneath the other one. And that can cause new mountains and volcanoes. I guess Pacific and North America can come together. We know at least from the arrows that the African and North American going apart, so that goes there to the west. It makes sense that it goes against the other one, against the Pacific plate. Okay, destructive one is going underneath the other one. The volcano erupted on the 18th of May 1980, having been dormant since 1859. Scientists had warned of the eruption and most people were evacuated. Okay, it was 18th of May 1980, and it was after 123 years of being sleeping in a dormant state of a volcano. And some people who had made their measurings, they had predicted that it's gonna erupt, and that could warn many people and initiate their evacuation. Map showing location of Mount St. Helens and area covered by ash cloud. Now, I guess that the darker brown is the stronger ash cloud and the other one the lighter ash cloud. We are just going to say there was a big ash cloud going eastwards over the United States and Canada. Map showing the effects of eruption in the local area. Okay, what is going on here? Tornado, Castle Rock, Longview, Castle, Cowlitz River, Silver Lake, Ridge, washed out, debris and mudflood, flood areas. There's the mountains, so we have that. Mount St. Helena, Mount Margaret, YMCA camp, fish hatchery destroyed, Baker camp, Kogar Swift Reservoir. I don't really get what is what here. We know we have enough for the text. I don't know. Does it not mean that these are places where it's going down? The river's down. Okay, there's some map without description what all these colors mean. There's a bit what debris and mud flows. Okay, debris and mud flows. We're going to all sides out, and went through the rivers down in the Kalama River. Okay, and the South Fork Total River, and North Fork Total River, and flood areas. And the rivers had then flooded onwards to Kelson, Longview, and Castle Rock, and Silver Lake maybe also. Okay, let's look what else is right. The eruption was so violent that the top of the mountain was blown off with a blast greater than a 20 kiloton atomic bomb. A great caldera was left. What comparison would we have needed before atom bombs were invented in 1945? I don't really know what to do with the comparison. 20 kiloton atomic bomb. Now, it was a big blast and just a big blast. Nothing more can we say to it. A great caldera was left, and a caldera seems to be when a volcano has been dormant for some time. The magma in the vent acts as a plug. When the volcano erupts, the plug is blown out, often blowing off the top of a cone and leaving a very large crater known as a caldera. Okay, the caldera is the large crater happened after the, oftentimes at least there, plug which had resulted out of the magma cooling down was blown away with the top part of the mountain of the cone, and that large crater is a caldera. Okay, there was a big explosion and the top was blown away of the cone, and there was now a big crater called caldera. The blast covered 400 square kilometers, throwing trees over ridges 500 meters high. The blast of a sound, do we mean? Or maybe not the blast of a sound, but the blast wave. The blast wave, do we mean? Okay, the blast wave. Covered 400 square kilometers. That would be 400 times 1 kilometer, or 40 times 10 kilometers, or 20 times 20 kilometers. There we have it. Okay, so for 20 and 20 kilometers, many trees were blown over, not by the sound, by the shock wave of a sudden explosion. And the trees were thrown high 500 meters. The trees on Mount St. Helena standing higher up, or the trees standing on the ground next to it, 10 kilometers away. Would not the shock wave coming at the top of the mountain, let's say Mount St. Helena's, let's say 1,000 meters, plunge the trees into the ground and not high 500 meters into the air? We're going to say 400 square kilometers, 20 times 20 kilometers. Trees were through the shock wave also smashed down, fallen over, and brought to the ground is good. Fallen over, brought to the ground, and even catapulted into the air up to 500, and some even catapulted up into air to 500 meters high. Hot ash and gas flowed down the slopes at 160 kilometers per hour, melting snow and ice and forming destructive lahars. So from the volcan there was hot ash and gas, which was going down the sides of a mountain with 160 kilometers per hour, melting then also snow and ice, and that whole thing out of ash, gas, and ice and snow was a hot, destructive 160 kilometers fast lahar called. The ash cloud crossed the United States in 3 days and circled the globe in 17 days. So over 3 days it went over the United States and Canada, and then within 17 days around the whole globe, and then over the whole globe. The eruption left 100 people dead, including a geologist at an observation post 8 kilometers away. People often lived near, so 100 people died. 3 days USA, 17 days around the world. People often lived near volcanoes because the ash produces fertile soil and good crops. But that is not part of Mount St. Helena, that is just overall meant here. So the ground is good to ground to make good food out of it. On Mount Etna in Sicily, people have tried diverting the flows of lava away from villages by building dams. They've only been partially successful. So in Sicily, south of Italy, the big island, where they tried to build ways that the lava is not going then into the towns, but away to other places, which is partially successful. Now, let's spend 1 more minute on that map here. We're not going to do the presentation today. Mount St. Helena's was there, and the top part of the crater was blown away and left a caldera. And then there was it going down of debris and mud flows to the sides of the mountain and then into rivers, causing the rivers to flood. Why? I think we should save it, and I don't know. Okay, we're not going to mention it. Maybe we're going to mention it. Okay, that was the volcanology part. I'm going to think about if you mention it without explaining it. If you were here for volcanology, you can go directly to the next part of volcanology, where we will continue with volcanology and try to make a presentation about Mount St. Helena and its eruption on the 19th May 1980. If you stay here and participate in the stretching minutes with the arms, have your feet cinched together, out with one foot to the side and the other foot, then with the heels and the upper heels. And back in again. Toes, toes, heels, heels. And up again. Legs shoulder wide apart, down into the knees, flex the legs, press them together, straighten one leg, and bend it again. The other leg straighten it, and bend it again, and up. Legs more to the side, down into the knees, flex, press together, slowly over to one side, and to the other one. Back into the middle, and up. And have the legs standing more together, press to the outside. And good standing, arms up. And breathe out, go to the side. In and up. Out to the other side. In. Out, one hand slides down. Again in. Out, one arm over. In and over the ribcage. Out and back. Again in. Out, the other hand slides down. In. Out, one arm over. In and out the ribcage. Out and back. And the arms up. Out to reach to the side. In. Out to the other side. In. Out and down. And we just good standing. And shoulder circles back. Up and front and down. And backwards. In the shoulders up. Out and down. In and up. Out and down. And the arms up. And the reach always with one arm high up. And the legs wide apart, arms to the sides, breathe in, and out, go out to one side. In middle, out to the other side. In middle, and out, lean onto the knees. Breathe again in, and out one shoulder in front. Again back. Out the other one in front. Back. And out and lean onto the knees, just onto the ground. Breathe in. Out, go over to one leg. Again. Out over to the other leg. Again in. Out into the middle. And close the feet. Breathe again in. And out. Again in. And out comes slowly with the round back, up at the top and backwards, shoulder. The feet are standing a bit apart, in the arms up. And out and sit down, elbows against the inside of the knees. Breathe in and straighten up. And out and come with the back up. Breathe again in. Out and down, in and straighten up. And out comes slowly in one straight line up. Hands again down. Have a good standing leg. The heel of the other leg's foot, top of a knee of a standing leg. Breathe in. And out and down. Up again and change. Out and down. Up. Legs to the sides, breathing alone. And out open the chest to the sky. In and up. Out and down. In and up. Out. In. Out. In and close the legs. And again out. That was the stretching. I thank you very much and